Um, as the world knows, this is the second edition of the Canex weekend that is taking place. Uh, so what we expect that we will build on the success of the first edition, which was held in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, certainly. And building on that means that we will have more depth to the different pillars of the creative industry that connect supports. And these include film, music, sports, fashion, the visual arts, literary arts, so at gastronomy and culinary, which was something we introduced at the last Canex at Inter-African Trade Fair in Cairo last November. So this particular event will enable us showcase the progress that have been done, provide the platform that our creative professionals need to begin to break away from Africans' continued marginalization in the industry. We also expect that this exhibition will prepare the exhibitors and the countries who are participating for the bigger Inter-African Trade Fair that will take place in September 2025 here in Algiers. They will begin to see the different opportunities that are beginning to emerge. We also hope that beyond the exhibition, that purpose of creating the Canex initiative, that is capacity building, creating a platform for collaboration amongst our creative practitioners in the context of global Africa, that we continue to deepen it. So we expect a lot this weekend. We expect people to enjoy the African vibes, enjoy the flavors of Africa from all parts of the continent and the Caribbean, learn more about the literary skills of our people through the work we are doing with Chimamanda Adichie to award prizes to young writers. We expect that we will witness certain activations in sports and so on and so forth, and a fantastic fashion show, a musical show, and of course, many short films that were contributed by producers, aspiring producers, and established producers from all over global Africa. We are setting the stage for an initiative that will really achieve what we intended it to achieve, being the nexus of the creative industry for the entire African population, wherever they may be. Well, the impact is there, so, so obvious, because the funding supports all creative industry activities across all the value chains, as I mentioned. We talk of fashion, and that includes creating the industrial capacity to produce on the continent, so that young designers do not have to go elsewhere in the world to produce what they have designed. We're talking of supporting the young people who have brilliant ideas, so that what they design or the design they develop can become global brands by investing in those brands. We are talking of creating sports infrastructure and arenas to make it possible for artists to perform across the continent. Why is it that our artists are making money only from the streaming income that they make from the music they play? Whereas artists around the world make the most money from the shows. But how many countries have the arena to host one abroad, for example? We don't have it. And if we do have it, these artists should be on tours, and that's what we are so investing in to make sure that these begin to proliferate across the continent. We are partnering with Confederation of African Football to create stadiums, a stadium across the continent. There are perhaps only 23 countries on the continent that can host the African Cup of Nations. Others do not have adequate sports facilities to do that. So that must change, and that is one of the things. Some of the things we are doing. Financing our film producers. For the first time, we have an African institution that is providing funding to film producers to produce without giving up their intellectual property. And we give our people the right to choose whether they want to give up the intellectual property or they want to use it as collateral for borrowing money, and when they pay, they take back their intellectual property. For the first time, we've been able to create something that wasn't in a dream. People talked about them, but they never got to do them. We created a collaboration through the One Drum project that have brought together musicians from Africa, from the Caribbean, from Brazil, global Africa context, to produce with the Olodun, the famous Olodun drum group in Brazil. The release of the EP that collaboration led to has been made, and it features very, very prominent artists. And we thank them, Flavor, Wally Brothers, and so on and so forth. But each and every one of these have brought hope back to our creators. They have created opportunity for our people to take their destiny in their hands. We working with a number of leading Africans in the film industry and other creative sectors to create a film fund that will make it possible for even more collaboration to happen amongst Africans. And we thank Boris Johnson and Michael Johnson and Viola Davis and all the others who support, who are supporting us in this effort. But this is just the beginning. And that is why we'll be announcing an increase in that amount. Because as I mentioned, the plan, the vision is huge. We have to catalyze. We have created a Canis Creations Incorporated, a company that we created to help preserve the intellectual property of Africans and hold them on the continent. So this entity is going to take the rise over brands, partnering with those who create those brands. Music, film, and even in science and technology, so that we are able to retain this intellectual property on the continent. It is not manufacturing that will make us the biggest economies in the world. It's the intellectual property we create that will make us the biggest economies in the world. But what we've seen is that once our youth develop something of value, before they even become commercialized, they're snapped up. uh, paid peanuts because the people are poor. They think the peanuts is big money, but the people who buy them, they wait and make multiples of that money in terms of valuation and income from that asset that has been created from the brains and the efforts of our people. Well, the collaborations that are happening, uh, what is happening all across, as I mentioned earlier. Take the fashion industry. Uh, we have an initiative called Connect Presents Africa. Through this initiative, we, we have been taking African designers to global markets, taking them to uh, fashion shows that they never dreamt they would ever do. So we've taken them to participate in the Portugal, and they're participating now actively in Portugal Fashion Show, in Paris Fashion Show, and just this year we got invited to Tokyo Fashion Week. Um, so we've done about 8 exhibitions. And amongst all of this, you have designers from across Africa, from the Caribbean, coming together, beginning to know themselves, to collaborate, share ideas, and to be able to produce uh, fashion, to design things that are better than if they had done the design individually. We've done massive collaboration in music. We went into partnership with this Berry at that time Grammy nominee, who writes music. And this collaboration was to help young people to learn how to write music, and, and beyond writing music, to hold the right to the music they write. And we've been able to work with him to organize the cookout. I think we call it the cookout or something like that. And that was organized by sub-regions: North Africa, East Africa, West Africa, and we have we have through that produced 32 songs that have been uh, put together. I don't know how many musicians, because sometimes we just take a line from somebody, but that line from somebody, the intellectual property is recorded and retained. And some of these 32 it's not the album, it's the musical that we produced, um, are now released. And I mentioned about the film fund we are talking about. The film fund is a collaboration uh, that we formed with major stars who are in the diaspora. I mentioned Boris Johnson. So that is a collaboration. That is just to set up a fund, but the, the main purpose of that fund is to draw talent and ideas from Africa and the diaspora to produce blockbuster films that would not have been possible otherwise. And I mentioned the music, the collaboration we did with Olodu in Brazil, pulling together musicians from Africa, the Caribbean, the US, Brazil, and we just done the first album called One Drum. And there are top musicians from all these areas, from global Africa, that have asked to do a second round of this collaboration. So we're beginning to see and make the people realize that we are one people. Although we are separated and dispersed, perhaps the most dispersed people in the world, but one thing runs through us, our Africanness. So the culture that we have is not much different. What has happened is that the exposure to other cultures have helped to modify a few of the way we do things, that when you then blend them, you create the best blended wine anybody can